Hi, Andrew McNair here today to talk to you about increasing your tithing exponentially. It sounds scary, I know, especially in this time of economic inflation, uncertainty, market volatility, and a potential recession where every dollar counts. But what's at stake is our relationship with God and obedience to Him, first of all. First, we need to cover why you need to tithe more, and then we'll talk about how to increase that tithe exponentially. Think about that word, exponential. At some point, I know we've all been blown away by technology, science, finance, or economics. And let's go even more basic. Take agriculture, probably not the most modern example of exponential, but an ideal one for Paul the Apostle. He says in 2 Corinthians 9:10-11, "He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness." You will be enriched in every way to be generous in every way, which through us will produce thanksgiving to God. Paul's original audience lived in an agrarian society whose life depended on what they sowed and as well as what they reaped afterward. They understood a fundamental level that a lot of variables can wreak havoc on a harvest. This passage says God supplies the seed that we use for exponential survival. He does the same thing for seeds that we sow in giving. He can and will multiply your results and your efforts. Sowing, whether agriculturally or charitably, takes faith that God will provide. See, when we sow by giving our tithe and offerings, it's not just our giving that grows, it's our faith that grows exponentially along with it. And I love this passage. It also says that God multiplies seed for sowing, not seed for consuming or hoarding. You know, too often we eat the seeds. We eat all of our finances. We eat all of our resources. And most of us, sadly, can spend more than we even make. We don't invest them in the kingdom. We consume them like sesame seeds. Why? Because we think life is short. We're supposed to enjoy ourselves while we're here, right? Yet God, through Paul, is challenging us by saying enrichment isn't eating the seeds. It's sowing them, digging them deep into dry soil and watering them so that the kingdom spreads through unreached people groups. If we're stingy by storing our own seeds for our own rainy day or compulsively eating them instead of tithing, worrying that really no more manna will come our way, then we are spitting in the face of God's mercy. I know that sounds harsh, but we have a tendency in our culture to get all we can and can all we got. Your path of righteousness and sanctification cannot be complete, or it's at least missing exponentiality if you aren't being generous to the work of the gospel. So what we can see from 2 Corinthians is that God gives us enough so we can be generous with our tithe and help others in need. It's easy to lose sight of the fact that we are able to give because God first gave to us. He gave His only begotten Son. He was first really generous with us, giving us salvation and also gifts of common grace like food, water, shelter, and more than enough to meet our daily needs. Now, as you think about it, increasing your tithe, don't forget that all you have is from Him. That 90% that you're living on is because of the 100% of the grace that He's given to you. So you may be saving. This is all fine and good, but what I'm supposed to do now, we've been talking about why to increase your tithe, and now we're going to talk about how. I'm doing this video because the average American is only giving 2% of their income to charity. Yet the Bible is clear that the tithe is 10% of your first fruits of all of your income, of all of your labor. If you're not at that 10% level yet, let's jump into some practical applications that will help you do just that. The first thing that I recommend families to do is look at their tax returns. Tax returns are a wasted, rarely invested, and never given away bit of surplus. Let the government take as few taxes throughout the months as possible. Go back to your employer and adjust your W-4 form to allow for this. If you're set it up to pay fewer taxes, you'll have more money to work with throughout the year to tithe that full 10%. And that'll be the first natural step to get you to that 10%. Number two is, what about the scenario where you've worked hard and you finally got that promotion now? What do? When you get a pay raise or a promotion, don't raise your expectations. Don't raise your standard of living. Just be more efficient with the extra that's now coming in. See, a 6% raise increase means you can increase your giving by 3% and increase your lifestyle by 2% and save an additional 1%. And for our final example, let's say your employer gives you a cost of living adjustment where you get a raise on your salary to keep up with the rising cost of living. If you get a 3% increase, you can do the same thing. Apply the increase to the area where you are the most deficit, you're the most off track, whether it's giving or saving. For most believers, though, sadly, it's probably giving. So why does all of this matter so much? Because tithing lays the foundation for the rest of our generosity. Tithing is just the beginning. It's the first tenth. It's the floor, not the ceiling. If you can come up short with your tithe, then it's my belief that you will be more likely and reluctant to give generously when opportunities come. It's hard for me to encourage generosity if you're not even doing the minimum. As the passage we looked at today says, giving should be exponential. Your tithe is just that baseline. So if you want to learn more about my journey from greedy to generosity, check out my new book, The Giving Crisis, by clicking the link below, and so that you can pre-order and get your copy today, or better yet, get your copy today once it's released. And I want to thank you for watching all of our videos on tithing and generosity. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to click subscribe and check out my podcast, Rich, Young, and Powerful, on iTunes and other podcast platforms, where we share with you other charities and ministries that you need to be a part of and you might want to learn more about. So until next time, remember to invest your life into something that will outlive it. Now that's living to give.